Hi, I'm Al Blythe. This is the 6th in our series for the Central Ohio Beekeepers Association. It's May 24th, about 5 o'clock in the evening and 85 degrees out, clouding over. Looks like we got some storms coming. Before we open this up, I pulled the tray, the mite tray out from underneath the hive. It's really the first time I've done this. I probably should be pulling it every time just to inspect it. Here's a small hive beetle, so we should, and I squished it because it was running away, but we should probably put a beetle trap in for that. I also wanted to show you a couple other things. There's some varroa mites in here. Here's one right here. And I saw a couple of others. There's one right over here. They're very small. They're the size of a head of a pin and shiny. And so we do have some mites in this hive. I'm going to scrape this off really well and put it back under there so that we can see next week what it looks like. Some of the other things you can see, this is a grain of pollen that fell off a bee and fell through the board onto the bottom. Most of the rest of this is sugar crystals or some pieces of comb. There's another mite right there. So we actually have a fairly high mite population, and we may decide that it's worth treating this hive if those keep showing up. Next week, I think we'll do a roll test, so you can see how that's done. We'll plan for that. Here's several more. I'm guessing with that many mites on this tray that we have a situation where it would pay us to treat these bees. So I'm just going to scrape that off, and then we'll slide this back underneath. If you remember, the last time we were in here, this hive was queenless but had a queen cell in it. And so we're hoping to find a queen today. All bees take the same amount of time as an egg, 3 days, and as a larvae, 5 days, so that's 8 days. Then the queen is pupates for another 8 days. So a queen, from the time the egg is laid till she hatches, is 16 days. A worker bee is 21 days, and a drone is 24. So the queen develops quicker than the others. So she should be hatched if it was a fact of our killing the queen the last time we were in here by accident, or 2 times ago. So we're hoping we find a laying queen, and we'll see here in a minute. Let me find a smoker. We'll give them a little poop of smoke at the entry. They smell good. Little hello smoke there. Okay, I'm going to pull the outside frames very gently and work our way into the center to see if we can find a queen. If we do find a queen, I'd like to mark her. I like to have my queens marked because then I can tell if they've swarmed or been superseded. And this year the color is white. There's a nice frame of pollen and nectar. A couple of drones there. Same here. We'll put that one aside. We got 2 young children here that are just dying to come and help us, so we need to move pretty quickly so that we get this done before they decide to climb over and see what we're up to. Okay, here's a bunch of, right here, I don't know if the camera can show it, but there are eggs right in there. Yeah. So that tells us that we do have a laying queen. Those eggs are, they're consistent with a queen, not with a laying worker. They're in the cells one right after another, standing straight up. So let me look at them again. Yeah, my eyes aren't that good, but they're probably either 1 or 2 days old. They're that good, but no better. Okay, you don't see her here, even though she's been on that frame. Let me just keep going.
Come on, girl.
Yeah. She has eluded us most of the time. Of course, now it's a new one. See, there's no capped brood, so there's not been a laying queen in here. But they're much calmer today. That's typical of being queen right instead of queen less. They feel like their world is in harmony. Still no girl there. There's some cells with some royal jelly down in there, but I don't see any larvae either. So she's only been in there laying for a couple of days. Oh man, this one's all honey. Look at that.
Oh,
capped, fresh, white cappings on beautiful light honey. The black locust in this area should be in full bloom, although I haven't seen it here. I've seen it nearby, but not in our apiary area. So I'm concerned that maybe the black locust got frozen again this year up here. I hope we get some of that. It's the best honey you could ask for. All right, we're gonna pull this super off and look down underneath at the other one. The girls are being good. Your girls.
Lila, stay there, please.
Just drawing this out, and they're doing the same thing to this as they did to the other foundation, making big holes in it and creating a bunch of burr comb, which is not my favorite thing to see these bees do. Let's see if we can fix it a little bit. Don't tell me she's gonna elude us yet again.
Nah,
We're gonna find her. That smoker's bad. There are eggs in here, so she's been down in here laying. This really fresh comb that's not even drawn out all the way, but it has eggs. Boy, they've just torn this up something awful. That's what I'm saying. Mommy, where are you? You on here somewhere? Murray, Lila's not being any more patient. Oh. Well, I fear we're going to get skunked for the third inspection in a row, but at least we've seen eggs in here and we know there's a laying queen. So we aren't going to worry too much if we don't find the queen. Here's a frame of pollen. She's unlikely to be on the last one, but you never know.
Why is that?
Because usually the last frame in the hive is pollen and nectar or honey. That's their insulation frame. When she hits that frame, it's a key for her to turn around and start laying the other direction. So typically the queen will lay across the comb until she gets to that point and then turn around. Having said that, I found many a queen on the very last frame I pick up, or even on the side of the super sometimes. So there's no accounting. And there's plenty of times you don't find them at all. Well, we're going to leave well enough alone. They're doing fine. They don't need another super, but I'm going to add one. We should be getting a lot of nectar and pollen coming in here in the next week or so. Make sure she's not on here so I don't roll her, which may have been what happened a couple of weeks ago. Sure don't see her. I don't usually miss the queen, but she's a very tricksy one. Okay, so to close this back up, I'm going to give them just a little bit of smoke to send these bees down. Remember to take off my frame holder and put the upper super on. Square that up nicely, and then I'm going to add this third one just for fun. See if they can draw it out without tearing it up. So we got these.
Oh, so.
Okay, here we'll center these frames up really well in the hopes that maybe they'll do a nicer job of drawing those out. Put our feeder back on. There's probably where the queen is. Look at all those bees in there.
Would we expect to see eggs then in the top super next time?
Only if they draw it out.
Oh, okay.
You know, they need to have at least some comb in there to be able to lay on it. Okay, once again, we got another half gallon of sugar syrup 1-to-1 with some Honeybee Healthy in it. Glug glug. These bees are breaking my bank. And we'll stick the lid back on, and we'll call it a day just before it starts to rain. Well, gee, I didn't get to mark the queen. We'll do that another day, I hope. See you next week.